We've got Marilyn. We've got Freddie Mercury. We've got Amy Winehouse. We've got Elvis. We've got Steve Jobs. Twice. We've got David Bowie. We've got Whitney. We've got Madonna, but she cancelled it. We've got Mark Zuckerberg.
Smoking these meats.
We've got the nuclear bomb man. Every time I open my Twitter feed, there's a new one. Billie Jean, not my lover, is just a girl. Before we go down this biographical rabbit hole, we must answer the question, how the darn do you pronounce this word? There is multiple ways to say this word, and whatever I say, there's gonna be one person in the comments who says it differently. So, there's two common pronunciations of this word, biopic and biopic. I know many people who say the word like this, and it makes sense, because when you look at the word normally, it can't be pronounced like that. But here's the thing, if you say biopic, that implies the existence of two opics. Where are the two opics? I cannot see them. Are the opics in the room with us right now? On the other hand, a biopic makes a lot more sense. It's a shortening of biographical picture. There has been a huge increase in the amount of biopic movies coming out in recent years. Mostly ever since this film came out and then went on to win big at the Oscars. And the Oscars, that's a big theme here. You know, everything leads back to the Oscars.
Thank you. Thank you.
The genre of the biographical picture has been around for centuries. So it's important to note that there's nothing new about biopics. A biopic is just a different way for your audience to engage with a film. You know, centering around someone or something that has already existed. A biopic is quite a big umbrella term of a genre. And obviously there have been good biopics for the last few decades. Like, oh yeah, Raging Bull, that's a biopic, yeah. Malcolm X was a good biopic. Social Network was quite well written, I'll give it that. Oh yeah, I, Tonya. Yeah, that's on the board, I, Tonya. But when I say biopic, you know exactly what we're about to get into. You see the board, you see the steaming pile of garbage we're about to get into. Part 1, the Hollywood Content Farm. Oh. Every now and again, you get a YouTube ad for a highly generic sing-song movie about a singer-songwriter who sings a song, or a brand who branded a brand until the brand became a brand.
We just signed Michael Jordan!
Everybody can make a case to say, you know, these films, they're good. Why are you so mad? That looks just like that. They're well crafted and gripping. Austin Butler is sexy. He does the sexy Elvis voice.
Hi, I'm Austin Butler, and I'm here with BuzzFeed to answer questions with puppies.
You know what, maybe you're right. Maybe I am a hater. A biopic is as diverse as any other genre. You know, you can have a biopic that plays with the morality of your protagonist, or maybe it's shot like a mockumentary. Two very good examples of biopics. But still, it's the sheer volume of biopics. Every now and again, you have a noticeable celebrity in their life story, and it's inevitable they're going to be churned through the biopic machine, one by one. Soon there won't be a single celebrity who hasn't been biopicked. No, not Diana. No, we like Diana. Well, you know, there's some potential here for a biopic, you know, a possible 3-act structure, some drama, maybe some Oscars. Oh wait, what's that? You want another one? Oh, another one. Oh, sure. Yeah, we'll give you another one, yeah. There's so many examples of Diana biopics. You know, I can only really fit one on the board. There's probably like 10 of them. And I'm not spending that much in printer ink. I'm not printing out 10 Diana pictures. You know, there's only limited space on the board. We love Diana though. We love Diana.
Why would I care about her? Because I care about...
Okay, so the countless portrayals of Diana is just one example of a specific niche in the biopic genre. And that is the tragic celebrity. Which, you know, it takes up a lot of space on the board. You know, we have Marilyn, we have Whitney, we have Freddie, we have Amy eventually. There's a lot of tragic celebrities over here. If there's any celebrity who like tragically passed away, there's probably a biopic about them, let's be honest. They're very easy films to make.
For my next trick,
I'm gonna fucking kill myself.
But you know, over here we've got another specific niche of biopic, and you know, that's the brands. And that kind of moves away from having one singular figure to having like an idea of a brand, you know. You've got the founder about McDonald's, you've got Air, which is about Nike, Tetris, you've got Tetris. Who asked for a film about Tetris? You know, a brand biopic is quite different to a tragic celebrity biopic, because a brand biopic, you know, is a lot more ambiguous about the plot, because there's less known about these people. You know, the man who does the Tetris, we don't know that much about him. So it results in scenes that, you know, probably didn't even happen. Okay, so Mr. Gates, I just drew up a mock-up of the Microsoft logo. What do you think? What, you don't like it? Sir, you're gonna have to trust me. I know that this logo is gonna be good. Do you get it? It's a really famous logo. Brand iconography. But there's one thing for certain about all these films, and you know, that's the dependency to have an existing thing carry the entire film. So now we're on a really pivotal point about all these biopics, and that's the audience subconsciously thinking, I know that thing. I remember that Live Aid performance. I remember when Amy Winehouse dies. I remember Elton John in the 70s. That's bloody Winston Churchill, for Christ's sake. I know Winston Churchill. I know Winston Churchill. But really, when you take up the novelty of having, like, you know, key imagery and key pop culture moments, you're left with a very bland film, let's be honest. You know, if you take away the Gucci from the House of Gucci, you're just left with a house. And nobody wants a house. Nobody wants a house. That wasn't in the script, I just made that up. Okay, I'm so smart. Like a biopic about Steve Jobs, without the Apple logo, you're just left with a film about, you know, a weirdo, you know. You're a weirdo, bro.
Big boobs? What? Child. Anyway, so...
When Bohemian Rhapsody has a full recreation of Live Aid, you know, it uplifts the Queen brand. So there's nothing really separating the brand biopic to the celebrity biopic, because the celebrity biopic is about a celebrity, but it's really about the brand of the celebrity. You know, we can't really make a Lord of the Rings film anymore, so we have to make a film about Tolkien to uplift the Lord of the Rings brand or something. It's all about that brand recognition.
You need to leave!
Really, it's a win-win when you make a biopic. Like, it's about uplifting the brand of the celebrity, but also you get to have a cash cow film, you know, that makes a lot of money. And some Oscars, you know, it's all about the Oscars. It's all about the Oscars.
Thank you, Queen. Thank you guys for allowing me to be the tiniest part of your phenomenal, extraordinary legacy.
I am forever in your debt.
Okay, so another example, Steve Jobs, you know, we get to make a film about the Apple brand, you know, uplift the Apple brand, but also, you know, we get Michael Fassbender, you know, some Oscars, you know, it's all about the Oscars. Michael Fassbender did eventually lose to Leo at the Oscars, but if he won, I can imagine him saying something like, I want to thank the Danish for making this sleek keyboard. Look at that. Wow, it has Touch ID. Wow. I don't want to sound nitpicky, you know, this isn't Cinema Sins, you know, ding, oh, there's no original ideas anymore, you know, it's all about the brands, oh, why aren't there any good films anymore? No, this is a big problem, you know. Oh God, I'm just realising how crazy I look right now. I was up till midnight putting these on the board, okay? You don't understand. My stick just broke. Shit. No. Okay, whatever. Short stick. I saw a TikTok the other day, you know, it was by someone called Cinema Joe, and he was doing a basic outline of all the 2023 biopics. And it was wild.
Will 2023 be the year of the biopic? Tetris, a biopic about the history of getting the rights to the game that was Tetris. BlackBerry, a biopic about the history of the BlackBerry phone. There's a George Foreman biopic coming out in April. Flamin' Hot is a biopic about the inventor of the Flamin' Hot Cheeto. Unfrosted is a comedy biopic about the creation of the Pop-Tart. Ferrari is a biopic where Adam Driver plays Enzo Ferrari. Priscilla is a biopic we're getting this year that's more focused on Elvis and Priscilla Presley. But that's just barely scratching the surface of this year. Eventually we'll get a Bob Marley biopic, a Grateful Dead biopic, the Bee Gees getting a biopic, and even a Sublime biopic.
Having these many films that rely on brand recognition and the idea of like, I know the Pop-Tart, I eat Pop-Tarts all the time. It's a film about the Pop-Tart. This is probably the result of having no original ideas in the pitch meeting. And the same applies for celebrity biopics. What if we did a movie about, you know, David Bowie? You know, I kind of like Ziggy Stardust. Like, it's kind of cool looking. Should we do a movie about that? We've got enough money to do that.
Name?
David Bowie.
I feel like this kind of started with Bohemian Rhapsody. Like, there's this formula where it relies on the celebrity's legacy, and, you know, especially a singer as well. They love a singer. David Bowie, Judy Garland, Elvis, Freddie Mercury, Aretha Franklin, Whitney, Amy Winehouse, Winston Churchill. I'm sure he sang in the shower sometimes, you know. Actually, I got my research team to do a whole list of, you know, the upcoming celebrity biopics. And, Michael Jackson, Madonna, but it was cancelled. Okay, I'm sure you get it now. There's a lot of films that rely on celebrities and brands and stuff. I mean, look at the board. I spent so long on the board. I'm really happy with the board. That's nice, that's really nice. I think the reason why there's so many of these biopics is, you know, they're all trying to compete with each other, and pre-existing pop culture is really the only thing Hollywood care enough about to make films of. And that's kind of annoying, I'm not gonna lie. It's quite silly to look at all these films and then look up to the clouds and go, oh, god damn it, Hollywood. You bloody, The Hollywood industry is not one person. You know, there's not one person just making all the decisions for everyone. The Hollywood industry shouldn't be personified. So now I think we should shift focus away from the Hollywood industry and start looking at some specifics. It's time to spill the biopic tea.
And you did it at my birthday dinner.
Because at the end of the day, when Hollywood makes a bad decision, there's a lot of individuals behind that bad decision. A lot of seats and chairs, a lot of yes men, a lot of egos. One specific example, Mr. Bradbury Pitcherary. He sometimes acts as a producer for a lot of films, and, you know, he's one of the producers responsible for this Marilyn Monroe biopic. Which, when it came out, you know, collectively, a lot of people were like, no, this is garbage, this is trash. There's a lot of Marilyn Monroe stands out there, and they were not happy with Brad Pitt. It was just a garbage biopic. Blonde is a horrible movie. Please don't watch it. Fuck Andrew Dominique and the garbage movie he's trying to sell as a Marilyn biopic. All he's doing is dehumanizing a very real and complex person. Because she has no living relatives, there's no one to speak up on her behalf. Blonde is disgusting and a bad work of fiction. The Marilyn Monroe movie Blonde on Netflix was absolute garbage. I'm quite mad about it. I hope Marilyn Monroe's ghost haunts every individual involved in the production of Blonde. Needless to say, I don't think they like the film. Blonde is the worst movie I've seen all year. What a cruel, malicious, exploitative piece of garbage.
Mama, this is garbage. Right here.
I think the reason why the Marilyn Monroe biopic was so badly received is because it was inhumane in its approach. Most of the plot revolves around the worst of the rumours surrounding Marilyn. Obviously, Marilyn is not alive to actually tell her story, so it comes down to a producer like Brad Pitt or a director to base the film off the brand of Marilyn. You know, the dark, you know, gritty Americana kind of thing. It's the idea of Marilyn Monroe. It goes back to what I was saying about, you know, the brands of the celebrities, you know, it's just lazy work. When this film came out, there was a lot of force behind it, you know, a lot of people were behind it, it was kind of Oscar bait. But when a film that the industry hypes up so much turns out to be trash, we kind of start to peek behind the veil of Hollywood. Because behind every cash-in of a celebrity's legacy, there's a producer who hasn't had an original thought in his whole life. I'm looking at you, Brad. Brad, it's okay, have a sip of water. Yeah, there you go, have a sip of water. Yeah, it's hot today. So another example of Brad Pitt's trash work as a producer is with Courtney Love and Kurt Cobain. So Pitt has allegedly been harassing Courtney Love for years to get the rights to a Kurt Cobain biopic, which already sounds like a fucking horrible idea. Also, Brad wanted to play Kurt, which is just like, Brad, it's such, no. Brad. So Brad and Courtney talked a lot during the production of Fight Club, because Courtney was originally supposed to play Helena Bonham Carter's role in Fight Club, which is very hard to imagine, I know, but like, just bear with me, okay? So Courtney recently went on a podcast and broke her silence about the avoided Kurt Cobain Brad Pitt biopic. And yeah, I'll just let it play.
No, I mean, I had this role of Marla.
Yeah.
On Fight Club.
Yeah.
I get the role. So the lawyers have called the lawyers. Like, this is my role.
Yeah.
So we'd done all these table reads. I'd gone and worked privately with David. And I get this phone call, and it's from Gus Van Sant. And this is like 1999. And Gus is having lunch with Brad Pitt. And then his voice comes back up, and he goes, Brad really wants to do a movie about music. And then they both get on the phone. And it was like the hell mouth opened. Oh, my God. We want to do it about Kurt. This is like 2000. No one's ever done this. Like,
right.
I went nuclear. I don't do Faust. Who the fuck do you
Yeah.
And my landline rang at 6.
Yeah.
And it was David Fincher.
Yeah.
And I knew it was going to be him. And I'm like, don't. By the way, God bless Helena Bonham Carter. She's a genius. I've never seen that film. And yeah, he fired me.
Because
I wouldn't let Brad play Kurt.
So yeah, Courtney Love was called up by Brad Pitt, one of his friends, and she was eventually asked,
Courtney, you know your husband who passed away not that long ago? What if I played him in a movie? You know, that would be really cool. Do you think, could you guys do that? You know, have a cash cow of a movie about grunge music?
And this was in the early production of Fight Club, so Kurt would have been dead 5 years or something, 5-6 years, which is, you know, a tough sell to a grieving widow. And even after Courtney Love was fired from Fight Club, Brad Pitt in 2020 still can't let it go.
You know, my friend Cameron Crowe was like, I don't think he meant it as literally as it's become, but like, Brad Pitt was put on this earth to stalk you for Kurt, which has been going on since 96. Like, yep. Sure,
really?
Sure, yeah. And then 2020, they wanted to produce it, Plan B, really bad.
Yeah.
And I had a Zoom with him here. And I stuck up for myself. And I said, listen, man, you know, I don't know that I trust you. And if you don't get me, you kind of don't get Kurt. And I don't feel like you do, Brad. And anyway, that was it. We left at a Zoom.
What he want to do exactly?
Produce it. Plan B is his production.
Yeah, but he do what, a biopic?
Yeah, biopic. Yeah.
Brad, stop calling me. Brad, leave me alone. Brad, it's the middle of the day. Do you not have something better to do? Dude, this girl is crazy. She won't even let me butcher her husband's legacy, dude. What a weirdo. The worst thing is, like, we all know how bad this film would have been. Is it even worth the struggle of trying to get it made? Okay, so just imagine it, you know. Yeah, something's in the way. Just imagine, you know, you'd have to wear a blonde wig, go, something's in the way. Yes, I made this specially for the video, shut up. And the Oscars, they would have eaten it up. They would have loved a Kurt Cobain biopic. This whole Brad Pitt and Courtney Love situation, it tells us a lot about how a biopic is made, you know. A manager of a dead celebrity's estate, you know, is approached by a producer who has a vision for a movie. I'm not gonna give you the Kurt biopic, just leave me alone, please, please. I would say that the creation of a biopic is actually a reflection of the creator's ego. Like Brad Pitt projecting his ego onto Kurt Cobain's legacy. Especially when Brad wanted to play Kurt Cobain. I think subconsciously it's not about honouring, you know, the legacy of a celebrity. It's about you playing another more famous person. I really cringe when actors do interviews for a celebrity biopic. You know, when I was playing Kurt Cobain, I really had to get deep down into my psyche and get into the, you know, the heroine mindset. You know, I had to do a lot of method acting. You need to remember that you're actually talking about a human being, you know, not a brand.
But there were a few days when I would walk into the makeup truck towards the end of the day, and you know, a lot of the people on set really only knew me as Freddie. When you get to be Freddie Mercury all day, you want to be Freddie Mercury all day.
That for sure.
Behind every influential public figure is a slightly less influential public figure with an ego big enough to portray them. Like, say, Eddie Redmayne. Hi, I'm Eddie Redmayne. I'd love to play Stephen Hawking in a wheelchair. Oh my god, I'm gonna get an Oscar. Wow, the theory of everything.
Please don't destroy my legacy.
You might be thinking, it doesn't always come down to that. Like Elton John had a big hand in doing Rocket Man. Madonna had a big hand in doing her cancelled biopic. Yeah, Rocket Man is a good film. And Madonna, well, you know, Madonna's Madonna. Madonna's gonna do Madonna things, you know. Either way, it's a big Hollywood, you know, cluster mess, you know. Like, why do you need a Madonna boot camp? What were they doing at Madonna boot camp? Okay, so Madonna boot camp aside, there is a big difference between an authorised and an unauthorised biopic. A few of these are unauthorised biopics, and a lot of them are the worst ones.
David Bowie.
Whoopi Goldberg up here, she has a clause in her will saying that once she dies, no unauthorised biopics will be made about her. You know what, Whoopi? Good for you. Whoopi, that's a base take. You know, well done, Whoopi.
Didn't you ever hear of a phone?
Wanna kiss my butt?
Out of spite, I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna put a clause in my will. I know you're not gonna make a film about me, but fuck you. You don't get the option. I mean, that would be a boring film anyway. Just, 90 minutes of me slouched over a desk. But also, would they really make a Whoopi Goldberg biopic? Probably not. Did she have to put the clause in her will? Is anyone actually going to make a Whoopi Goldberg biopic? Like, would you watch that? No, I probably would. I'm not going to lie, I would. No, someone would make that. It's the thought that counts, Whoopi.
Okay.
Dear celebrities, if you take 5 minutes out of your day and add a no biopic clause to your will, we wouldn't have to suffer through another music montage where it skips over all the good bits. Like, why is that bit so quick? That's like the most interesting part. No, go back, rewind. I want to see the tour. I want to see Elvis doing all this stuff. Okay, seeing as we're on this topic now, I've set down the basics of the biopics. So, part 2, the biopic narrative clichés. Again, a biopic is a genre, so the history of a biopic is as long as cinema itself. And one of the earliest examples of a biopic is this film here, Jeanne d'Arc. I'm wearing a beret, so, I have to kind of flex a bit of French. Jeanne d'Arc, Jeanne d'Arc, Jeanne d'Arc, Joan of Arc, directed by Georges Méliès in the year 1900. It's this type of film, I got a B in film studies. Méliès relying on the clout of Joan of Arc. That's a cinema sin right there. Don't come for Joan of Arc.
Thank you, Queen.
Okay, so say you're going to make a film about a public figure's life. It's very hard to fit an entire lifetime into one tight screenplay. So there has to be a lot of structure. Like the 3-act structure, equilibrium, the rising tension, the mise en scène, I got a B in... Did I say that I got a B in film? With an increasing amount of biopics in the last decade or two, there has been a noticeable amount of clichés that each of them seem to do. Clichés that a lot of audiences already, they're used to it. And we've already gone over one already, so cliché 1, montage over the good bits. This one especially applies to a lot of biopics with a certain type of high energy. Like the band or the musician have hit their peak and they're in the midst of their success. And it always comes down to like the very middle of the film. I feel like they do this cliché to both symbolise, the crazy life of a celebrity. And it creates a moment where there's like an iconic costume that the audience see and they go... Having the middle of your film be the peak of the celebrity success does make sense for your narrative. I just find it really frustrating. Like the Elvis movie, where, all the interesting years are cut down to 30 seconds. Next, cliché 2, drugs. This cliché kind of goes hand in hand with the idea of the peak success of the celebrity. Just like the montages, this kind of symbolises the celebrity's crazy life. If there's a celebrity with a drug problem, they're also on the board. The studios, they love a drug story. The more rock bottom, the better. They love it. They eat up.
Mama, this is garbage. Right here.
How is this not seen as exploitative? Especially when the celebrity died of their addiction problems. Amy Winehouse biopic, yet to be released, I think is wrapped filming now. We've seen a few set leaks, we've seen a few things, and oh my god. Oh, I'm just gonna leave. This just looks horrible. I'm just gonna leave. And they called the film Back to Black, which is so obvious. It's it's the obvious title, We've only seen 3 pictures from the set and it just rubs me the wrong way. There's something really off about this film. I bet I can tell you the exact synopsis of the film, It's gonna open on Amy Winehouse on a drug binge and it's just gonna go, "My name's Amy Winehouse, you might be wondering how I got here." And the crux of the whole film is just gonna be "Oh, she does drugs. That's really sad." Amy Winehouse didn't even die that long ago. I feel like this is a bit exploitative, Cliché 3, that looks just like that. As we move further into a digital age and all of pop culture is just there for us to look at on our phones, the more we start to see a mirroring of that pop culture in our films. Like, there's no archive footage of Joan of Arc being burned at the stake. So people like George Méliès had to rely on creative methods for the audience to engage with the film. Look at that colour. That's beautiful, that framing. The je ne sais quoi. But now we start to shift our focus towards more modern celebrities like Whitney Houston or Freddie Mercury. It just becomes, that looks just like that. I remember when I was young and I watched the real Live Aid. That's crazy that they actually recreated it. I'm sure it took a lot of effort to place those cups of Pepsi perfectly. But once you remove the novelty of it, it's just like, this is just a copy and paste, No, it's celebrating Freddie Mercury's legacy. Yeah, maybe you're right. But after the 100th recreation of a music video, I'm at my breaking point, I can't take this anymore. Like, what's the point? I could watch It's Not Right But It's Okay on YouTube, but we have to go through this whole thing of feeding the ego of the creators. Once you take away the cliche of, stuff looking like other stuff, it starts to get a little bit boring, Like The Social Network, we don't really know what a lot of that looks like. So it's a very well-written film because it doesn't need to rely on that looking like that or that looking like that, you know what I mean? But films like this, the only thing it has going for it is that looks like that. What's the point? I could watch that on YouTube, Again, it's just feeding the egos of the people involved. Do we have to watch Eddie Redmayne pretend that he's in a wheelchair and paralysed? That's not Stephen Hawking. That's Eddie Redmayne laying in a wheelchair pretending to be paralysed for an Oscar that he won.
Thank you. Thank you.
Years before Eddie Redmayne's portrayal of Stephen Hawking, Benedict Cumberbatch did the same exact thing. Like, it's the same shots. It's the same exact, it's a copy and paste of history, copy and pasted onto another film.
We should go in.
I can't get up.
Come on.
I can't.
Very funny.
I can't get up, Jane. Hello, Jane? Hello?
Once they do the same exact thing twice, you start to see the strategy here. We'll put an actor that we like in a wheelchair so that he can get an award. It's just, you see right through it,
Thank you. Thank you.
It all goes back to the Oscars and awards and all this stuff. If you look at the Best Actor list of recent years, there's so many biopics in there. You've got Rami Malek as Freddie Mercury, you've got Elvis, Austin Butler, he was nominated, you've got Winston Churchill, Gary Oldman, he was nominated and won, Eddie Redmayne, Will Smith was nominated for King Richard, which is technically a biopic, and we all know how that turned out. There's no original ideas anymore. It's just copy and paste that pop culture onto that pop culture, and then there's a drug in there somewhere, there's a montage in there somewhere, and there's another celebrity, and then there's another depiction of Diana, and then there's another depiction of Freddie Mercury. It's the same thing over and over and over. My feet are tired. I'm gonna give myself a hernia over this video. I need to sit down for this last part. Okay, so cozy bedtime vibe to end the video on. This is so much easier than standing up the whole time. I should just do this more often. Oh wait, yeah, this is a chapter kind of thing. So, chapter three. In Thomas Flight's video on Everything Everywhere All at Once, he talks about the current generation of film and what led us to this point. And guess what? It all leads back to the phones. Every problem we've ever talked about on this channel leads back to the phones. So anyway, Thomas Flight's video on Everything Everywhere All at Once surprisingly helped me with this video. So in the video he talks about how the film itself, and the reason it resonates with people, is basically a product of this current generation's usage of the internet. All of pop culture is just available on our phones at all times. This generation's perspective on the world itself is vastly different to the generations before. On the internet we have access to everything. It's available everywhere. All of pop culture, all at once. Also, this reasoning of generational perspective on pop culture also applies, in my opinion, to this clusterfuck of biopics over here. You see, this recent increase in biopics that I've been ranting about the whole time, to me it feels like the studio, looked up a few photos of a celebrity on Google, copied a few JPEGs into a screenplay and called it a day. And there's no integrity. Where's the artistic integrity? There's none. There's absolutely no artistic integrity. Martin Scorsese would not approve of this, sorry, not cinema. In other words, the recent biopics are just, a bunch of pop culture mush slapped together. Especially films about musicians, like you're just getting the brand of the music, you're getting the songs that you know, you're getting the outfits that you know, and you're just kind of like sticking them all together, calling it a screenplay, and it's just like... When making his film about Joan of Arc, in 1900, Georges Méliès was still thinking about Joan's brand.
Thank you, Queen.
Oh, whatever, Joan of Arc was made 123 years ago. Maybe we should move to different examples. Mark Zuckerberg, social network. So Mark Zuckerberg and Facebook are archetypes, figures in the narrative where the film can flow its message through them. The film isn't just about Facebook. It's about, there's a message of friendship. Don't leave your partners behind. And, isn't it crazy getting rich really quickly? All that stuff. As well as having, the iconography of the brand of Facebook, actors that look like Mark Zuckerberg or whatever. It's much more than that. There's a narrative at play. But recently, say you make a film about Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson isn't going to be like an archetype or a figure for the narrative to flow its message through. It's just going to be, there's Michael Jackson. It's for people in the audience, to point at the screen and say, oh, he did the thing. There's Michael Jackson. Oh my God, he looks like Michael Jackson. It's because, we take the brands of like, say, Michael Jackson or Prince or Elvis, and we take them face on. We know everything about them. We know the music videos, we know the iconic outfits, we know the iconic clips. They're all there on the internet. And every user of the internet feels like they're having a unique experience, scrolling through the same Michael Jackson clips. And then we have interviews of, the guy who plays Michael Jackson, and he goes, to get into the headspace of Michael Jackson, I really had to, get in touch with the... Like, shut up, no. But if the film was good, it'd be a story with a purpose about, the trials and tribulations of fame or whatever. Not a story as an excuse to just copy and paste pop culture over and over again. And whatever has the biggest brand or the biggest IP is the one where the money is shuffled over to. Because people are gonna watch it, because it's familiar. I guarantee, people are gonna walk into the Michael Jackson biopic, not because they're wondering, if it's gonna be a good story. They're wondering, is it gonna look like Michael Jackson? Is it gonna dance like Michael Jackson? Yeah, I am the one. No one's gonna care about the actual story of the film. It's all about, visual signifiers. We're in the time where a film producer can, scroll through the internet at 2 AM and find an old video of Michael Jackson or Amy Winehouse or Fleetwood Mac and think, oh yeah, we should make a film about that. Not knowing that, 2 million other people watched it as well. There's no thought behind it. Just the Hollywood machine, churning away. That's my churning impression. Is that how it churns? And in the midst of the biopic production machine, we forget that these are real people. So what do their lives mean? Is it ethical to create a fictional story about a public figure, whatever that means? No. Also, kind of yes. It depends on whether the film is good or not, or... Oh, I don't know. Hollywood is not going to stop making biopics. My next video will be a review of the Pop-Tart film. What's the deal with the Pop-Tart? I can't wait for the Adele biopic in 2060. This is only the beginning. The beginning. This is only the beginning.
In the beginning.
And you know what else is in its beginning stages? Memberships on this channel. There's going to be a whole extra side of content to this channel. Oh, I've had a very busy past few months, trying to do all this extra stuff and, as well as this video. I'm telling you now, it's going to be worth it. I'd really appreciate it, even if you just, contemplate being a member, just for, 2 seconds. And if you're already a member, we get each other. We understand. We get it. Once you become a member, you'll get like behind the scenes videos, outtakes, extra tangent videos, and you know, your name in the credits, which is basically like immortality, because you know, once it's on the internet, it's there forever. It's still early days, but you know, I promise you, it's gonna be worth it. Shameless plug over. Okay, bye. And if there's any film producers watching, stop making biopics. Bye.